Alex from Psychonaut Visions signing in here, and I was just on a walk, smoked a little bit of weed, and I was listening to some music, and I was walking through this patch of pine trees on the little sidewalk I was walking on, and I just thought, like, I feel like talking about some random shit, just that's on my mind. Just random shit. And I feel like in a podcast, it's easier to flow and just talk naturally, like I'm talking to somebody else. Because when I have a camera in front of me, it's a little strange, and sometimes it's hard to completely forget that the camera's even there. And anyways, I need to stop talking about that. Now, I'm going to freestyle this, and I'm going to start with where I was earlier, with the pine trees. And there's something about pine trees that leaves me in a state of awe. I feel a sense of humility when I'm confronted by pine trees, usually in the woods, because they're so much bigger than me. And to me, I feel like pine trees represent strength and wisdom, like they're so old, and something about pine trees makes me think of the Native Americans, who were very spiritual people, and they were very connected to the land. And that's because I feel like nature works in a way where we we were put on the earth somehow by some creation. I'm not going to say it's God, but I feel like we were created so advanced, and everything around us is so advanced that it was put here all for some reason. I don't know if there really is a genuine reason behind it, but there's some sort of significance to the world we live in. You know what I'm saying? And something about pine trees, just there's like the woods there's something very spiritually significant, something that seems almost supernatural. Like the woods are connected to something deeper than just me, and deeper than just the trees standing there overlooking everything else. It seems like they have their own life force energy to them. And as I learned through a documentary that I watched on Netflix called Fantastic Fungi, apparently fungi are all interconnected through this network underground, almost, where they connect with other fungi and trees and shit like that. And it was so fascinating to me. I just thought, dude, like, the more and more I dive into some deeper state of consciousness, or learning about some deeper state of consciousness, I think about shrooms, and I think about nature, and how shrooms brings you into this state where you're very connected to nature. At least on the lower doses, you feel very connected to nature. And my interpretation of psychedelics on these high doses, especially on shrooms like I did on my 8-gram ego death trip, I feel like they break down matter, and matter is basically energy, and they break down this energy and show it rearranged into something else to you, like something foreign. Is I feel like there's stages, almost like there's levels to the universe. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and I don't know how deep it goes, and if there even is such thing as time, or whatever these concepts we make up in our heads just to try to figure everything out, just to make sense of the world in some logical fashion. And for me, I think back to my trip now. I remember during my trip, I know I mentioned this in one of my videos, I believe. I remember I was sitting down with my friends, and the thought occurred to me, like, where am I? And is this like real, or is this like a dream? I forgot, like I forgot what was going on. And I kind of shoved the thought to the back of my head because I was having a good time with my friends, but our egos were slowly dissolving more and more to the point where it got extremely uncomfortable. And I feel like the difficulty I had during this trip was actually confronting the mushroom head on and allowing it to present itself. I didn't allow it because I was finding it too much. I was really scared. You had to understand when you get to these high doses, they're no joke. They're a lot of work and they're not fun. And I just thought going into it that 8 grams of shrooms, like, okay, like will probably be uncomfortable at some point, but it didn't really register in my head how uncomfortable it really is. Like, you're literally forgetting everything about you, like almost everything. And when I came back down to reality, I learned way more about relationship dynamics because that was just the key theme in my head, the hot topic almost, where I kept thinking about my relationships with other people and how complex they go and how everything is interconnected. And I'm connected to different people from work, from family members, to my girlfriend, to my friends. And it goes even deeper than that, man. It is just, there are all these things that I've been thinking of lately. This is all I've been thinking about, right? And what I wanted to bring up earlier was that during this trip, I forgot if we took the shrooms at all, or if like the shrooms even was causing me to feel like this. I thought like, dude, maybe this is reality and we never really took the shrooms in the first place, Like some crazy shit was just running through my head, and we got to a point where I was like, yeah, guys, we don't leave until tomorrow or some shit like that. And then all of a sudden my friends looked at me, they're like, tomorrow? Like, wait, how many days do we have left here? Like, what's going on? Do we leave today? Fuck, And at that moment, I completely forgot about the sun and the moon, and it actually just seemed all fake to me. Like the sun and the moon and the concept of days and time just like was just non-existent. It just wasn't there. Like you couldn't conceptualize it at that state of consciousness. Like, what the fuck is that? Because there's just some, like, I don't know if I believe in entities per se, but there's something so deep out there that they like to come to us, and they try to come to us in some personified form. I know I mentioned this in one of my collabs with Northwood Shaman, but I know not too many people watch those because they're really long. These entities, I don't know what exactly their purpose is, if they're showing us the truth or they're guiding us towards something, or they deceiving us, like you don't know what is going on in these realms because it gets to a certain point where it gets so deep. And for me, I feel like I didn't get as deep as I could have because I did not confront the experience, like I said. And I've heard about other people's stories where they allow the mushroom to take them, and they become curious, and instead of being overcome with fear and anxiety, they ask it to present itself, that they ask it to show itself, and then the experience gets deeper for them. And I think like, wow, dude, that's crazy. And part of me wants to go dive into a deep dose again, like even an even higher dose, but I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, just talking about it gives me a little bit of anxiety because I know that once I do that, then there's no going back, and it's going to get to a point where I might be extremely uncomfortable. And that's what mushrooms do. I don't know why they exist or how they exist or what they're here for, but all I know is that they make me feel connected, because connectedness has some way of reaching you towards your emotions and your feelings. because connection, interconnectedness is one of the main roots of the universe. And us as humans in this third dimension, we're able to feel emotion and feelings, which is very unique to us and other species and just any third dimensional creature that's able to experience emotion. It's something that I don't think is experienced in deeper levels of consciousness, because it's more of like an objective view of everything than it is a subjective view, because there is no sense of individuality. Oh, anyways, during this trip, another thing I wanted to talk about was how I felt very masculine, and all I could talk about was my masculinity and how there are no boundaries, and how I feel like there is maybe everything is never ending. Maybe it just goes on forever. I mean, is that how I want to truly think about it? I don't know, but it does seem like a possibility that everything goes on forever. I mean, I kept thinking, like, there are no boundaries, and I couldn't contain it. I couldn't keep it within. I just had to say it out loud. It was like an instant epiphany. There are no boundaries. I am masculine. We are men. And I think that trip, now that I look back at it, just talking about it right now, I just came to a realization that I can integrate, and is that it helped me. I don't know how to say it, man. It showed me that I am no longer a boy anymore, and I am actually a man now. That I need to start taking myself seriously. I need to start holding myself accountable for shit. I need to start being responsible. Start paying some of the bills that I have. And it didn't really hit me until this year that that's the state that I'm going through right now, or the phase, basically the entire year, that I am a man. Like, I'm not going to get all my shit paid for anymore. I don't really have that privilege anymore. Like, yeah, I live with my mom and she pays for some of my groceries, but other than that, I'm on my own. I'll ask her for some things here and there if I really feel like I need it, but other than that, I'm on my own. And with this trip, I felt so connected to my other friends there, Will and our other friend. And now, whenever we don't hang out, and if we go more than a week without hanging out, I'm actually genuinely sad about it. Like, of course I'm not like crying or anything, but like, like I'm just like sad, like, oh, I miss them. They're like my best friends. I'm so spiritually connected to them after this experience. It was just absolutely mind-blowing. We're the only people that we can talk to about this stuff, because we're the only ones who've experienced it, and we happen to experience it together. Which is why I'd like to connect with more people who talk about psychedelics and understand it kind of at the level where I am. Not some like Terence McKenna person. I can't even understand Terence McKenna, man. Like, I tried listening to some of his speeches and lectures before. I'm like lost sometimes. I'm like, bro, like, what is this fool saying? Because he's so smart. Like, he was so invested into consciousness and trying to find the meaning to the mushroom, and led him down these crazy routes. But anyways, one word that I'd like to use to describe what I feel is camaraderie. Camaraderie in the sense of friendship and teamwork and challenge and inspiration. And I feel like my friends, I feel like they push me to be something better. We all hold each other accountable. We all support each other. We all love each other. We all inspire each other and challenge each other for self-growth and try new things and pushing ourselves physically, mentally, whatever. We're there for each other. And I feel like that's what friendship should be about. Especially for men. They gotta stick together and support one another. Be there for each other. Emotionally, too. Because a lot of men, they aren't there for each other emotionally. They hang out, yeah, but they don't really talk about things. A lot of men are like that. And you can't blame yourself for being like that if you are like that. Because sometimes you feel like you have to hold it in and not, show your emotions because it makes you vulnerable. And in a way, society is constructed in the sense that men, they have to be strong, which means they can't show their vulnerability. But I think that's a lot of bullshit. For me, I've always been comfortable with speaking out about how I feel about things. And it makes it a lot easier to live life, being able to open up to different people. You get different responses from different people, and when they listen to you, they give you good advice about what steps you should possibly take next in life. And that's how I am now, and I feel like after starting school and starting to work a little bit more, and now that summer's coming to a close, that I was sad for a little while because I miss being with my friends more often. It was a lot of fun, but I need to start focusing on adult shit. But there is good out of this. I know we'll all still be really close, so I can't forget that. And I just have to keep working on me, keep working on the goals that I have in mind to finish my degree, get a certification and all that, so I can help people. I mean, that's the whole point, is finding some type of purpose in order to help something or help someone. Or something else that you find purpose in. I think that's kind of what life is about. And I know I'm kind of talking a little bit slow now. I was talking a lot earlier. I had a lot to talk about earlier. But man, summertime is coming to an end, and I'm very connected to the changing of the seasons. I know autumn is coming. We're very, very close. And the trees are going to start changing color again. And we'll be able to feel the weather cool off, the days getting shorter. And eventually it'll be winter, and you kind of have to confront your darkness a bit because you're indoors more often. But that's what I love about the winter. And going back to pine trees, like I was talking about earlier, there's something about pine trees specifically, how they tower over you. They make you feel small but good, like they're there for you with open arms. And I have yet to do a shrooms trip around pine trees, at least in the mountains. Very connected to the mountains. I know I've talked about it before, but I just can't see myself anywhere else later in life. Like, I'm so drawn to it, and I know there has to be some reason for that. Some reason why my friendship with my friends has grown to what it is today. It's so deep that none of us can possibly explain all of it. And every single time I see them, I really try to find the words to explain all of it, but there's no way I could ever finish. Words can't describe what we've all been through together and how we've all grown together and how our friendships transformed into something brand new, something even more beautiful than what it once was. Yeah, man. there's a lot more to this reality than we think of it. That's kind of just my final conclusion here. Just a moral to the story, I guess, because I just freestyled this entire thing. I think it's better to freestyle a podcast than to try to talk about one topic and then stay on that topic. I feel like trying to stay on a topic actually makes you stressed out a little bit, so you can't even talk about that much. And you end up going on random tangents anyways. Yeah, so I don't really feel like talking anymore. I think 20 minutes is a good time. So Alex from Psychedelic Visions signing out.